Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. And it's about time I take a look at this movie, Trick or Treat. Not to be confused with Trick or Treat, the Michael Dougherty film from 2009. No, this is a 1986 film directed by Charles Martin Smith. Yes, the actor, Charles Martin Smith, the comedian, Charles Martin Smith. He does pretty good with this, I would say. And it deals with rock star Sammy Kerr, who dies in a hotel fire just before Halloween. And his biggest fan, named Eddie, who is Skippy from Family Ties, uh, is given this special record, one of a kind, the last one, Songs in the Key of Death, which is the final record, and it's supposed to be played on midnight, but it's given to him to listen to by a Gene Simmons cameo. And when he listens to it backwards, Sammy Kerr eventually he finds he can talk to Sammy Kerr, eventually leading to Sammy Kerr busting out as a ghost spirit and wreaking havoc on this town. So yeah. This is pretty good. I enjoyed this. I'm not a metalhead by trade. I'm not a metalhead. I do like some metal. I don't like the ones where it's like I don't like that stuff because you can't understand what the fuck they're saying. And I like stuff like Metallica. You know, the stuff in this is really good. I like some metal, but I don't. I'm not what you call a metal head, and this was very much in the time where rock was being questioned as, is it satanistic? Is it worshiping the devil? Is there messages played backwards? And all this film leads into all that stuff. And then I think it handles it very well. And like I said, Eddie is our main character. He's played by Skippy from Family Ties. And he's a metalhead that is also bullied. And because when I think metalhead, I think Skippy from Family Ties, the nerdy side character, Skippy from Family Ties, metalhead, yeah. Sammy Kerr is played by a former dancer whose name I do not remember, but he does a pretty good job. Yes, he doesn't actually sing the songs. It's done by the band Fastway. The lead singer sings the songs. But the songs are pretty good. I was listening to the soundtrack on YouTube in the van, to and from work. It's pretty good stuff, man. Yeah, so originally this town was gonna have Sammy Kerr perform on Halloween, but they have banned him, and he's from it's his hometown, he's from this town, but they have banned him from performing due to all this negative press from this Satanism stuff, whatever. And then it is found out that he dies in a hotel fire. So Eddie goes to the local DJ, played by Gene Simmons Cameo, who tells him that there's one album left, an unreleased album called Songs in the Key of Death, that was done by Sammy Kerr, that was bequeathed to him by Sammy Kerr with instructions to play it at midnight on Halloween, so that you play it, so that you can still be a part of the festivities. And so, yeah. He gives it to Eddie, who listens to it and then falls asleep. Which I falls asleep listening to metal music, I don't know. But he falls asleep and it is skipping and there's some weird language on it. So he plays it backwards and it begins talking to him. It helps him get revenge on these bullies. And okay. Yes, Scotty is going to rant about bullies in movies again, because I think they're unnecessary and just used as tools to push the plot forward. Yes, bullies do exist, unfortunately. However, they are used in movies and Stephen King stories to push the plot forward. You've seen it in many Stephen King stories like Pet Sematary too. Gary, that's the remake. No, Stand By Me. bullies are used to push the plot forward, and they do. And one of my biggest problems is that the main bully, Tim, does not get his comeuppance at all. He doesn't die. He survives this movie, and I want to know why. Like, why? Why does he get to survive? He's like the biggest douchebag in this movie. He gets to survive. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, I enjoyed this movie, but when it got to the climax, to the third act, some things in there that just made me go, and then it kind of went downhill for me. But I did enjoy it. A lot of questions popped up in this third act. We also get a cameo from Ozzy Osbourne, which is weird because we see Ozzy Osbourne posters on the wall, and Ozzy Osbourne is not playing himself. He's playing this televangelist guy who preaches against metal and rock and roll. Okay. Yes. So Sammy Kerr, starts killing, and then he, thanks to the power of Pepsi, no, literally, Pepsi spills on the record, and it sends electric shock, which releases Sammy Kerr from the record. Okay. I think any liquid could have been spilled on it, but I don't know. But he's burned from the hotel fire, but if he's a ghostly spirit coming from this record he made before the hotel fire, how is he burned? Unless the hotel fire was a result of some satanic ritual? I don't know. It's never explained. But yeah, and then eventually he's like, no, I'm not doing this. He has a love interest in the girl whose name I forget. Leslie. Her name is Leslie. And his best friend Roger, who's played by, and I'm not kidding, Glenn Morgan, who produced and wrote for X-Files. He produced for the Final Destination movies, and he directed the Willard remake and the Black Christmas remake. The first one, the decent one. Not a good movie, but decent. Fine. Yeah. In his only acting role, by the way. Charles Martin Smith, the director of this, actually has a cameo as a teacher in this. But, so yeah, Sammy is out there, and he can also appear through anything that's like the radio. And as a speaker, he can show up and do it. Which leads to the destruction of Eddie's car. So he tells Roger, you have to get that. Okay, so this is a really weird scene. Somehow, this girl that's dating one of the bullies is listening to this cassette tape that they put the record on, I guess. And she's listening to it, and she's getting turned on. Like, she is going full old city here. Like, she's going, and like her top bursts off. See tits. She's going, she's in there, and all of a sudden her ears just, and she doesn't die. She's ended up in the hospital, so she's not gonna be able to hear anything. But this causes Tim to go on a warpath. That was his girlfriend. So, yeah, and so Eddie tells Roger to get the cassette from the thing and destroy it. But Roger doesn't for some reason and decide. This is where the movie really kind of took down. Like, Roger doesn't destroy it because there's no reason why. He just goes, and decides to play it, unleashing Sammy, who controls him and tells him to play it to dance. Yeah, no, that's not how it would work. The only reason he doesn't destroy it is because we can destroy it because we need this movie to last for another 30 minutes. So, no, it doesn't get destroyed because of that. So, and so we get this Halloween party. And, okay, another thing I don't like is the mom. She's absent for the first half of this and then appears at a certain point just so that Eddie gets grounded for no reason. Surely there is no reason. Like, he destroys his stereo, but there's a reason for that. But, like, he just gets grounded, and so he's forced to stay home, and the mom is somehow now concerned for him after being absent for the first half of the movie basically. She's here and there, but she doesn't, like, all this stuff was happening with Sammy before, and she doesn't bat an eye. And now that stuff is really starting to hit the fan, and we need to make sure our main character's not at that dance when it happens, so we can't stop it right away. She has to be Mom of the Year and ground his ass. He didn't realize that it's not over. When Sammy still comes after him. And like I said, his car gets destroyed, and so he has to sort of hoof it to the school. He finds out that, yes, he's playing it. Roger is playing it on the thing. And this is where we get, okay, so Sammy Kerr arrives on the scene to the best song of the movie, Trick or Treat. Rock and roll, rockin' on midnight, steal your soul. Rock and roll, rockin' on midnight, take control. Best song in the movie. All the songs are great, but this was the best one. This is the one that everyone remembers. This is the one people rock out to because it's the title song. Technically, even though he says Trick or Treat twice in the song. It's a trick or treat. That's it. It's a passing line. It's not even. It's one of those songs where it's the name of the song, but it's not really mentioned in the song. Like Rockefeller Skank, the whole song is check it out now. The Funk Soul Brother, check it out now. Funk Soul Brother. It's not mentioned once. So, yeah. But it is mentioned a couple times. As a passing one. It's a trick or treat, but it's not in the chorus. But yeah. And so Sammy's rocking out. They think it's an impersonator, but he starts killing people, right? People start to die. People start to run away. He's, killing people from electricity from his guitar and everything. And then Eddie shows up with Leslie. And, he's like, Roger, you idiot. And then Tim gets involved and everything. And Roger almost dies, but he doesn't die. And then the cops show up. And when they're out there, they're like, what happened? And Billy's like, him! Eddie did it! And like, okay. And they're like, get him! Hey, you! And I'm like, no. One bully pointing out it's him versus all the other people who saw a guy who, for all they know, is an impersonator of Sammy Carr killing people with electricity. I don't think Eddie should be public enemy number one all of a sudden just because some dumbass who just wanted to blame him for it and knows nothing of what's actually going on here is pointing at him going, him, he did it. No, it makes no fucking sense. Why is everyone else going, no, it's not him. He wasn't even here. He just showed up. It's this guy dressed like Sammy Kerr who's killing people. No one steps in to tell the cops this, and Eddie is public enemy number one for the rest of the movie, which also leaves us with a big question at the end of this, but they run off, go back to his house to get the car. They got to get his mom's car to drive to get to the radio station so they can tell Richard Simmons. No. Gene Simmons. Excuse me. I'm going to play out of radio today. Gene Simmons. That's better. Gene Simmons to not play the album at midnight. But they don't get there in time. And what I can only assume is, we don't have Gene Simmons, so let's just set up so it looks like he's dead. But I don't know. They eventually get in there after fighting off Sammy by electrocuting him in the toilet. I kid you not. That's what happens. But I'm there for that. I thought it was funny as hell. They find he might be dead. It looks like there was an explosion in there. Hell if I know. Eventually, he comes to a plan. He takes this little radio that's playing some hokey music. He's like, count to 100, and then go in there and destroy the last copy of the tape. And, there's a question being asked. There's two questions that can be asked here. First one is, if Eddie had the only copy and he destroyed it earlier, how is he playing? It is known that there are tapes copied, so obviously Gene Simmons had a tape copy because it's like tape that's literally threaded through stuff they show playing. So there's that. Another question is, why is Sammy killing everyone when he was just going to, he was helping out with the revenge, and now he's just killing everyone. It is revenge. It is a revenge movie. He's getting revenge on these people. He's a Satanist. He's getting revenge on these people for canceling him, and so that's why he did the ritual that killed him, put him into this record, and now he's out for revenge. That's what it is. But anyway, so Eddie gets into his vehicle, starts driving with the radio playing, and is taunting this radio to get Sammy to come out. He then drives it into the river, electrocuting and destroying Sammy for good, I guess, as Leslie destroys the tape after counting to 100. And the movie ends with them meeting back up together at the radio station, and she somehow gets there pretty fast. And they kiss. And then he puts the tape in, he goes, "It's time to rock," or something like that. And it ends with another Fast Boy song. And I'm like, okay. Biggest question of the movie. What about the cops? By the end of this movie, he's still public enemy number one, because dumbass bully guy who just wants to get him in trouble pointed at him and goes, "Him, it was Eddie." He really had nothing to do there. It was really, if you want to put it, someone point at Roger. Roger was the one who did it, and he was the one who was there. So technically, Roger is the one that should be going to jail, not Eddie. But I do like that they don't end it with him going to jail, but it's implied that maybe, because the real thing about it, most likely, he's playing the music, oh, hey, this stuff's coming from the radio station. Cops show up. I don't know. And what tape are they playing? Because it's very confusing. Is it just playing a regular tape? Because it can't be. They destroyed all the copies, so I don't know what tape they're playing. But this was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's hokey, but it's awesome. The music is great. It's just, fantastic, baby. Almost to the moon. It's so close to the moon. There's just some gaps in logic, and the last half just kind of goes, when it comes to logic. I thought, are we really going to end this with killing him by electrocuting him in a toilet, and then it ends even dumber with him just driving off? I don't know. But, yeah, pretty good. So what are your thoughts on Trick or Treat? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.